Good afternoon. It is Barbara, the East Coast Dragon Lady, coming to you on a Sunday afternoon. And just as I sat down, actually, I was also reading a couple of messages that came in. The wind dragons appeared. There's suddenly I looked outside from a fairly quiet morning, and suddenly the wind has whipped up, and I got this sense that the wind dragons had flown in. So they're here, obviously, for a reason. They're actually saying that they're here because they're here to clear out all of the negative energy, to clear out all the cobwebs, they're saying. So if that applies to you, if that's something you need, the wind dragons are here. I've also got, if you're on my private Facebook page, I posted the cards that I pulled earlier, the message for us for this week. I did want to talk about just a couple of things, and then I'll go into the reading for this week. So Monday was a holiday this week, just gone here in Massachusetts. And it always seems that the rest of the week seems to speed up. So it was like no longer was it Tuesday, then it was Friday. And not only at my full-time job, but it seems like everything has sped up as we got to the end of January. Sort of every week has flown by. I'd also forgotten, and I don't know why I forgot this, it was on my planner, that I was actually I was a guest on a live podcast, which I was like, ooh, a live podcast, this is going to be interesting, because it was 8 to 10 p.m. And for me, by the time I get to like 9 o'clock, like my body is like, yeah, you're done. So I had to be perky, and the dragons helped, I'll have to say that. But it was interesting, some of the topics that came up. I have posted, it's actually on my YouTube. So if you're catching me here on YouTube, it's there. It is about 2 hours long. It was a fascinating conversation because I thought Merlin would have like been there front and center straight away, but he wasn't. But we got to talk about like the dragons, are they mythical? We talked about some of the deity, the elves and the fairies and that sort of thing. And then Merlin showed up and kept showing us doors and saying that we just had to open the door and we could step into that realm. So things like fairies and gnomes and elves. And I really haven't, that's not been something that I've been pulled to. But it was interesting how his image that he gave me was, if we ever want to go anywhere, have that. If we feel that we want to connect with that, it's just open the door. And he was showing me, it's a bit like, it's sort of a cartoonish thing, but just a door, like in the base of a tree. That's what he's showing me. So it's a big tree with a door in it, and he just opens it and he goes, step in. But one of the questions, and I was asked this within a space of a week, when I describe when I first met Merlin, I saw him in the woods, and I used that discussion. I was walking, and there was Merlin, and I had a conversation with him, and I didn't think, this is weird, I'm seeing a wizard. So somebody asked me before this interview, so did you see him in your mind's eye? And I said, no, I actually saw him. And they were like, oh, that's interesting. I've not heard people say that when they see something, it's often like an image in your head. I mean, a lot of my dragons, I know they're there. They might give me a little glimpse, or they might show me a snapshot. But Merlin was like real, like he was there. And then I got asked that again on Thursday night. So I'm guessing that for me, a lot of when I see something, it's in reality. I just thought that was interesting that I was asked it in the same period of time twice. But I'm not questioning it because, when I always tell people, if you see dragons, then they're real. If you see fairies, they're real. Whatever you see, it's not for us to question. It's for us to say, why are they here, or what do they have? Do they need help? Or they come to help us? So, and if you want to catch it, it might be something you want to put in the background. Some of the stuff, if you've been following me, you'll have heard before, but some of the other stuff, maybe not. It's always interesting to have conversations with, and this is called the witching hours, and you have to put an S on the end. If you look at witching hour, it'll take you down a whole different path, maybe the witching hours. And it is posted on my Facebook, on my Facebook group. But if you look for the witching hours, and they have some really interesting topics on there. It reminds me a bit of like Coast to Coast, but at a better time. I used to listen to Coast to Coast when I went through a period of waking up early or insomnia when I couldn't sleep. I used to keep that on, and I would wake up to the most interesting conversations. So, and I think it's still on. I don't even know how. I know it was a radio, right? It was, so I'm talking about a time when I had a radio, but interesting. So there's that. I've also had a few. I mentioned a few weeks ago that I was taken on a space. So this is another one of my weird things, right? So I was taken on a spacecraft during a meditation, and shown that I was on a peace mission. So there's more happening with that, and I've just had a few aha moments around it. I was trying to figure out, what does this mean? Why am I seeing myself there and some people that I know? And then it was explained to me that it's that we're on that peace mission in the future, or are we? Is it in the future, or is it in parallel life? So am I on that peace mission because we need it now? Am I on that peace mission just in a parallel life? So it feels very much to me like it's a parallel life, because this is what is happening now in the world, that we need more people to be on peace missions. But this is galactic, and a lot more of that galactic theme, I think, is going to come up this year. As if you've read, and people are saying there are going to be more disclosures and that sort of thing. But for me, it's bringing back to when I first connected with some ascended masters and other entities, was connecting with the Galactic Federation. Now, some people believe, but this is what I understand. So I'm not going to say whether it's good or bad, but the Galactic Federation and Commander Ashtar helped me, and I helped them, and they connected with me to my galactic dragons and helped me make much more sense of what I was understanding, my memories, what I was waking up to. And that just reminds me of another thing I want to just mention as well, which is interesting about when we have children. So before I forget, I have two sons, two adult sons. My younger son has some mental health challenges, but is extremely psychic and perceptive. And oftentimes when I'll talk about what I'm doing, he'll say, oh, like with dragons, oh, I've been talking to dragons for years, or, oh, I know them. This morning he said, I had a really weird dream last night. And he said, I remember that I was in water, I was in the ocean, and there was a seahorse, sort of about this size, he said it was, the seahorse. And he was like, I don't know why I'm seeing a seahorse. And he said he asked the seahorse who they were. And the seahorse said, my name's Simon. Now that gave me full body chills. So I'll take you back to a while ago when I've mentioned this before, that I was on so apparently I volunteered into a program when they would do it with hybrid beings, and they collected my egg retrieval program, which was in the 60s and 70s, I believe. So I volunteered for that, and I have actually met one of my galactic children who looks very much like my current son, and was told that I was part of an egg retrieval program. Now, most people would have gone, yeah, okay. Now, in the world I'm in now, I was having infertility issues, and a doctor actually said that I think you've run out of eggs. He said, some women, you're born with X number of eggs, and some women just run out of eggs. And I think that's what's happened to you. And I was in my mid to late 20s. So that when I had this message about I volunteered for an egg retrieval program, and what had actually been said to me was like, the whole of me was like, whoa. Fast forward to this name Simon. So eventually I didn't get pregnant with infertility treatment. That all went wrong. We eventually adopted my older son, and within a year I was pregnant, and everyone's like, oh, there you go. That happens to everybody. And I'm like, no, I wasn't really, this wasn't supposed to happen, but it did. Now, when we didn't know, obviously, until my son was born. Back then, you didn't do you want to know the gender? And we were throwing around names, my ex-husband and I. And one of them, in England, you have to give everybody names from families. I think in this country as well. But it's like, if you name this person this, you've got to give them this name. And it sort of goes backwards and forwards. Somehow the name Simon came up. So when my son said that the seahorse said his name was Simon, I said, oh, you met your brother. And he was like looking at me like, a seahorse is my brother. I'm like, that's what it feels like to me, that this is like I met myself as a mermaid between lifetimes in a past life regression. And that was my spontaneous was, oh, you met your brother. So I reminded him of the story. So it's interesting how these children that are throughout the galaxy are showing up. And I know other people, I've talked to other people that have memories of being in an egg retrieval program, and they say the same thing, that I wasn't expecting that he was going to meet somebody named Simon. And we didn't name him Simon, we named him Richard. Actually, so the name was the name that we wanted, Richard, but Robert was his so we gave him two middle names, Robert for his grandfather, and David was his biological father. So he has three names, and so does my other son. So the story with my older son was he already had names when we got him he was just weeks old, but somebody had named him. His biological mother had named him, and I like the names, but we always wanted the name Robert. So my son was Robert Stephen Luke, because his biological mother had named him Stephen Luke. So I didn't want them fighting over names. So when Rich came along, we said, we better give him three names. And of course, you never please everybody. But somehow my mother-in-law got the name Simon and had told all my husband's side of the family that we'd had a baby boy and his name was Simon. So he really did come in. And we said, no, that's not the name we're giving him. And she said, oh, I'm sure you said you were going to name him Simon. And we're like, no, it was a popular name at the time. I'm glad I didn't name him Simon. He's not Simon. He's definitely a Rich. So that's, these coincidences or these memories or whatever you want to call them just fascinate me. Like meeting people that you know them and you don't know where you know them from. That familiarity. I have this connection with somebody right now where I'm seeing what she's seeing, and we're trying to figure that out. So when I understand all of that, I will do it. I've also been, I have been continuing. I've been 30 plus days now with watching what goes into my body. The chakra dragons were talking about, you've got to shake it up. So most days I'm doing, extra movement so that I am actually moving. As I was doing it this morning, they were saying, you still got to move, not if you've got to move blood and, fluids around our body, but we have to keep those chakras regenerating. And by doing that extra, pumping your heart will pump it all out. So they just asked me to share that. I am still offering, I've only got one person signed up right now, to do a 2-part series on chakra dragons. And if you're interested, you can email me or you can message me through my website, which is www.eastcoastdragonlady@gmail.com. that's not my website is www.eastcoastdragonlady.com. My email is eastcoastdragonlady@gmail.com. I get those mixed up. I will get to the cards in a minute. The other thing that Dina and I are offering our 2-hour intimate setting card reading and art reading. We've done 3 of those. So if you're interested in that, I think it's February, first Monday in February. We're going to do 7 to 9. It's $22. So if you're interested, again, connect with me or Dina. We love doing that. It's I don't record it. I record it for the people that are there, but we don't share that. I'm also I'm asking people to go and look at my website, go and look at my new menu. I'm open to energy healing. If you want an oracle reading, a dragon reading, you want your chakras balanced and cleared, a dragon empowerment Reiki session, they're all there. I keep trying to put myself out there. I'm hoping to be at an expo out in Western Mass sometime in late March. Once I'm confirmed that I'm there, I'm going to be there selling my oracle deck. When I first launched it last year, it went to the printers twice. So that was like 100 oracle decks that I've sold. The dragons are like nudging me again. They're like, you need to get that out there. You need to get that out there. And I haven't done in years. I have not done in-person things. So I'm thinking I need to do more of that. And as most of you probably know, it's finding the time and the energy to do that. So if you know of any vendor events, just let me know, as long as they're within driving distance for me. I mean, this is a 2-hour drive. That's probably the furthest I'll go. And if you have not got my oracle deck, I use them most days, then you can message me and I'll tell you how you can pay me, and I'll get them out to you. I actually self-published, so if I have a run on them, I need to put in a new order. So please, the dragons are saying they're very. The dragons are telling me they're for everybody, whether you're an advanced reader or you're just beginning with dragons. These are very gentle cards. They're very heart-centered cards. I mean, this is a daughter of dragons, which is a special love. Guardian of the heart. So, yeah, if you're interested, let me know. So let's get on to, I've already pulled those cards because I was listening to another podcast and I thought I'll pull them. I will also pull a couple of, I really like these, the Sacred Soul Shadows, Oracle Deck of Shadows. They're very interesting. You've probably seen them if you're on my Facebook page. Like things like overthinking. Like I asked, what do I need to know? What shadow is that's coming up for me today? And it's usually spot on. And I've been posting those as well. All right, so I pulled 6 cards for this week. I used again the Angels and Auras Oracle deck, which is my new person that I found, and some of you probably know Dougal Fraser. I just love his energy. I love his cards. So the first one, which is his, which is Point of View. They're very interesting, these cards. Beautiful. I like the quality of them. Gratitude, assistance, guidance, and understanding. So to me, you see here we've got the white feather, It's that bringing in the light. I've just told somebody about bringing in the white light. I think sometimes we forget when we're that, all we need to do is open up our crown chakra and just let that white light, let that all that information come in. Gratitude. So again, I just messaged somebody with this about, just writing down one or two things of gratitude. Actually, I always remember Oprah Winfrey. Some of you would be like, who's that? She was very popular 15, 20 years ago, maybe. Yeah. And she had a daytime talk show. I was a stay-at-home mom, just moved here, so I really couldn't work. And one of the things that I remember her saying was, like, oftentimes people say, what is there to be grateful for? Like, I wake up and what? And she was like, find 4 things. Like, when you wake up in the morning, you're grateful that you've woken up. I'm grateful the sun's shining. I'm grateful that I've got a roof over my head. I'm grateful that I got breakfast on the table. And as you build up that gratitude journal, it makes you suddenly like, oh, yes, there are things. And sometimes they're really small, simple things, because not everybody's grateful every day. But just writing something down every day, and it might not be in the morning, do it at the end of the day. What during the day am I grateful for? It does change your perspective. I have done it. So gratitude. Sometimes we call on this white light, we call on heaven, we call on our dragons, our angels, our archangels, we call on our higher power for guidance. So this is a reminder of that. And understanding. And sometimes just hearing or getting a message. I think for a lot of people, just getting a sign, and often this white feather is the sign that your angels are around you. So look for the signs. This goes with the ancient oracle dragon. Important information is coming your way. And I think as we, that was another thing I was going to talk about, as we step into the Chinese New Year, which is on Wednesday this week, on the 29th, the year of the wood snake. And that's a whole another, I could probably do a whole thing on that. My feeling about the year of the snake, or the year of the wood snake, is that there's going to be a lot of people releasing their Kundalini energy, and it's like a snake-like energy that sits at the base of your spine. And for a lot of people, it hasn't awoken, and I see that happening for a lot of people this year. So a lot of releasing this year, the year of the dragon. And the Archangel Ariel, sacred activist, protect what is right and just. Let love lead the way. So again, couldn't ask for better. I love this gold, because the year of the dragon, I keep saying the year of the dragon, the year of the wood snake, gold is one of the colours. Gold is about purpose, green is for balance, and red is for harmony. They're the 3 colours. And I've got some of these, the next card. So this is Archangel Uriel. I absolutely love this card. I love the colour, red, and red is about harmony. Right? Red can mean a lot of things to other people, but I think for the year of the snake, red is going to be about harmony. And this is emotions, healing, devotion, and integrate. So it's about, I think for a lot of us, as I said, the year of the wood snake is about releasing a lot of that energy that has been stuck. For me, I've been releasing a lot of very old grief, pain, disappointment, all of that, all in that area. So again, be prepared for a lot of releasing this year. Healing. It also, red, often we can bring that in. It can be, it can help push out a lot of, I was going to say it's healing. I guess red for some people is healing. And then in other traditions, devotion, doing devotionals, and just bring that energy and integrate it. And that's Archangel Uriel, red. The dragon is Pythagoras, which is mathematics, astronomer, and music. So that's what Pythagoras was known for. But this, if you have my deck, this is a very interesting card because there's a lot of things happening in that. And this is one of the Atlantis dragons, who is Pythagoras. I love this up here. So he was a mathematician, he was an astronomer. So again, I found myself a lot of evenings when there's no clouds, when I take the dog out, I immediately look up to see what's happening in the sky. And for me, it's always felt comforting to look up and to see the planets and see the stars. I once got a message which said, when we look up and see the twinkling stars, that is us looking down at you, and you are twinkling stars on your earth. So as we see them as the twinkling stars, they see us that way. Those of us that are light workers, our light shines, and they see us like we see the stars. And then Asriel, again, there's the gold, which I think is awesome. I'm just realizing there's gold and an orangey red. So these are all the energies for the next lunar year. You wouldn't be who you are without what you have overcome. Own your story. And I've talked about this. I think we need to, rather than apologizing for our story, is to share our story in a positive way. However negative it is felt to us, by sharing it with other people, it helps dissipate. This is what the message I'm getting. That as we share, and I'm a big sharer, you probably know that. I always tell people there's absolutely nothing I won't talk about. There's absolutely nothing that has happened to me that I am now ashamed of. There used to be, especially when you've lived with domestic violence. You feel that you can't talk about that. I will talk about it. I've talked to individual people. Because I think knowing that others have been there and got out of it, and also the dragons are really helpful. I've had 2 occasions now where I've helped people out with sending them dragons that actually have materialized without me even asking. The minute that they've asked for help, these protective dragons like appear, and it's a bit like a cartoon. They like shoot out and they're like, we're gone, we're going to protect them. And then I see these like straggler dragons, I call them stragglers, they're like, wait, we're coming as well. But these are huge. I think I mentioned last week that I saw them almost like transformer, like almost like metallic. I mean, they're huge and they're protectors, and they're going to come and protect you and your family, and nothing's going to get through. So I just got full body chills on that one. So if you need that, please get in touch with me. It doesn't take 5 minutes for me to talk to them. I mean, remember, for me, dragons are like right here. They're showing me that there's a line. I do love my dragons. They're like lining up. They're going, yep, we're here, we're waiting for me to go, which one of you wants to go and do? They're like, no, it's not really like that. They're just playing with me. Oh, that's brought tears to my eyes. Oh, so even more so when I see this. Look, I've just talked about that, and look at this. This is the rainbow of colours. I haven't even read what it says. Rainbow of colours around a heart with wings. Isn't that beautiful? I do love these cards. Boundaries, assertiveness. Oh, I can't make this stuff up. Courage and unwavering. Oh. So if this was meant for you, if you're listening to this, and I know there's some of you out there that are not talking about it, that this is for you. And, there are so many of us that have survived situations that we never thought we'd get out of. It does change you. As I said once to my ex-husband, don't mistake me for the woman that you were married to, because I'm not that woman anymore. And that's how I felt. It was, so I described it like when I eventually left, and we got divorced, that I'd felt, and I'm going to use that word tethered again, and I'm just remembering that I heard that in a past life I was a dragon and I was tethered by my tail. So it was that tethering, that holding down. And then when I was let go, I felt like I was like shot out into, it was like I went out into the moon and the stars. I mean, I was like a rocket. I just took off, and all of this, that's when I found, or just before that, but during that time, Reiki, polarity therapy, connecting with angels, meeting Merlin, waking up. It was a huge wake up for me. So I just think that this just talked about what I said. And, we're, as women, we are strong. And there's so many of us around that will support you. So just remember that. Boundaries. I don't need to talk about, we need boundaries. But that assertiveness, right? It's knowing what you can do and do it, right? But there's also a lot of spiritual help. The next is the guardian angel. Oh, I really can't make this up. I literally pulled these and didn't really look at them. The guardian angel of dragons. You're not alone. And I've just said that. All right. So it matches my color, my purple hair, right? You're not alone. And Jeremiah, personal responsibility. Take responsibility for your choices. This is an opportunity for inner growth. So when we have time, and I now have the luxury to look back on of like 25 years that I've been away from that, I can have conversations with my adult sons about how they were affected. They were teenagers. We've all come out of it with different scars, but we're still together. The three of us are still together. My oldest son did leave home for many years, and a few years ago chose to come back home, and my other son lived with me anyway. So I always say that I am extremely fortunate as a mum, and as I get older, that I've got both of my sons around me. So I count that as a blessing. So let's see two other messages. There is, no boundaries. So this is what happens when we have no boundaries. Difficult to establish healthy respect. Take care to ensure your needs are met. So for me, and when it talks about boundaries, this reminds me that I used to say I had a line, right? And it was like, you will not cross this line. This is the line I'm drawing in the sand. But what I did was I moved it. Every time an incident happened, I would say, you'd better not do that next time. You better not do that next time. You better not do that next time. Then there was no line. There was no boundaries. So if you can see that in your mind's eye, because I thought I was very firm and no, this is it. But then this was it, and this was it, and this was it, and then there was no boundaries. So you need to take care of yourself first. Toxic. You may be projecting your unresolved issues onto others. Don't cause harm. So remember, when we hold on to the anger, we hold on to the grief, we hold on to the sadness, it's toxic, and it makes us and others around us, but particularly, and again, I've experienced all of this where I didn't take care of myself physically or mentally or emotionally. And I, on a couple of occasions, became very sick very quickly. And I remember asking, as I just connected with angels, why? I mean, I literally couldn't move, and was told that you weren't listening. We were telling you to slow down. We were telling you, take care of yourself. And you kept saying, yeah, next week, or tomorrow. And you didn't. So now you can't do anything. Now you have to take care of yourself. So it does happen, whether it's autoimmune disease, whether it is physical illness, mental illness, all of it, once we get hold of, and I don't know when it happened for me, it was a slow process of believing in myself, and then seeing that I could do it. And I can't say that it was easy for the first 10 years, but I did. I survived. I worked 2 jobs to put a roof over our head, to put food on the table. I was earning enough money that I didn't qualify for any government help. Yet I was struggling. But we made it. And now, 25 years later, I am much stronger, a completely different person. I don't recognize that woman I was 25 years ago. So I guess what I'm saying this for is, my message is, you can do it and you can reach out for help. There are so many organizations these days, but there are a lot of us that are willing to hold your hand through it and send you a few dragons. So the dragons are like, don't forget us. So I was not expecting that to come up, but I know that if it's just one person this has helped, then that was why I said it. So I hope everybody has a good week. I've got another crazy busy week, and I don't know where it came from. I've gone from like having nothing happening to most evenings next week, not only with my job, but we also have some uni and stuff going on. So that's a whole nother thing that I'm trying to keep my energy out of, and just being on the periphery. That is hard work when you know that you can get sucked in to a lot of people's anxiety and anger. So I won't even start on that one. So I hope everybody has a good week, and I'll be pulling cards. I think my energy's leveled out. I did have a period where I felt I was integrating and uploading, and I couldn't do all of it. So most days, on the days that you don't see that there's cards there, is either that I've had a busy morning, or work's got in the way. But I will do my best to post most days. So have a good week, and I'll be back soon.